Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you so much for being here on another episode of Talking Heads on USA Global TV and Radio. I'm your host today, Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK, and our topic is why people defend what no longer serves them. I really love this topic. So I'll be giving some examples and we'll be talking through it, and hopefully you'll leave with some clarity as well as some tools. So have you ever let go of something or someone, and then you're having a conversation with someone about it and you start to defend the person or the situation in a positive way, even though it wasn't serving you? And when you were in the midst of it, all it did was bring you upsetment. But after the fact, you go back and say to yourself, you know what, it actually wasn't that bad now that I look at it. So why do we do this? Why do we defend what doesn't serve us anymore? The concepts that I'm going to discuss in this episode are really based on established research across behavioral economics, social psychology, and organizational behavior. And I will be bringing in some references for the framework for this particular conversation. So the first thing I want to discuss is something called a sunk cost fallacy and loss aversion. And so our reference here is a key work titled Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. I hope I said that right. Kahneman. Kahneman. Sorry. What is a sunk cost fallacy? So sometimes we have we have a predisposition to continue investing in something that is not working for us because we invested in it in the past, and we believe that if we continue to invest in it, that something positive is going to happen. So let me give an example. An example might be you were in a relationship with someone and it was working really well for a certain amount of time. And then it just wasn't working well. And so you decided to part ways, or maybe one of you just said, I'm out, I'm leaving. And then now that you're not with the person, you start to fantasize about what it was really like. And we tend to have positive memories. I know this is how I am pretty much. I like to think about the positives. And in my mind, I think about all the good things. Oh, well, we did this together and we did that together and so on and so forth. And then you go back with the person feeling like everything was going to be fine, but it's not. And you say to yourself, well, I don't understand. When we first started dating or when I first started working here, everything was terrific. And now it's not. So we actually have this false belief that because we already invested time, money, and energy into something, that it's not working, but it could work. Okay, well, what are you basing it on? What's actually changed? If nothing's changed, then it's really just a fantasy or just an illusion, or we're making it what we want it to be because we don't want to deal with the reality of what it really is. Can you think of anything in your life where that's actually happened? And then someone calls you out on it and says, but wait a minute, you were so unhappy when you were with so-and-so. You were so unhappy in the marriage. You were so unhappy when you worked XYZ. But yet there's part of our brain that just goes, well, I don't know. now that I'm looking back on it, and we reframe it. But we're reframing something that actually did not change. And why are we doing that? Sometimes we do it to keep ourselves safe. Sometimes we do it because we don't want to admit to ourselves that being in that situation or making those choices was really unhealthy, because then we have to be humble. Then we have to acknowledge that we made a mistake. But yet we don't want to acknowledge we made a mistake. Why? Why is it so hard to say, you know what? Wow, I don't know what I was thinking when I made that decision. And you look at it, what were you thinking when you made that decision? So that you don't make the same decision again. Sometimes we do it to save face. Maybe everyone was telling us, you know what, you're not going to be happy working there. You know what, you're not going to be happy if you move over here. You're not going to be happy if you give up X. And then we do it and we're actually not happy. But are we not happy because of the reasons that our friends and family and colleagues said that we wouldn't be happy? Or are we not happy just because we have nothing to replace it with? Because we haven't done the work. If you think about it, we can give things up. And I'm going to give a perfect example. So recently, day 23 for me, I gave up sugar and I gave up alcohol. And so the only alcohol I drank was Chardonnay. I loved Kendall Jackson, not a paid spokesperson. But I just woke up one day, I'm like, yeah, I don't need this anymore. And I don't miss it. Now, some people might be able to give something up because they're going to switch to something else. And I see this all the time. I see it a lot of the television shows that people will give up drinking, for example, and then they start recreational drugs or they start smoking. So you gave up something, but you never dealt with what it meant to you and what giving it up means to you. Instead, you just switch to something else. Another example is maybe you've been in a relationship that really doesn't serve you. And so you break up with the person, and the next day you're on one of these websites trying to meet someone. But yet you never looked at, why didn't the relationship work? What was your role in the fact that it didn't work? And how can you address this? So sometimes we're just embarrassed to accept the fact that it didn't work, or that someone didn't love us, or that the company we thought was our dream company actually wasn't, or going out on our own didn't actually work out. But there's always reasons for this. And so if we are continuously defending things that don't work for us, then how can we move forward? We've got a great comment. Thank you from Richard-U6C. No perfect way through life. That's right, Richard. Absolutely. Thank you for your comment. We actually have to do the work. And this is where people start just falling on old patterns. We have this emotional weight of whatever it is we invested in something that seems to be heavier than the excitement, the opportunity of what's in the future. So someone in my family who passed away a long time ago, she used to say, the devil you know is better than the one you don't know. And she was in a marriage that wasn't working, but she basically just decided to stay because she knew what the marriage was and what the situation was versus the unknown of meeting someone else. So she would constantly justify why she was staying. And so I talk a lot about this, about justifying and over-explaining. When we start getting into a situation, I want you to be aware of this for yourself, where we're actually explaining why what we're doing is what we're doing, and then we're over-explaining it. We're actually talking ourselves into it, and other people can feel this. It's kind of like, well, wait a minute. You already said that you're not happy. You haven't been happy for a long time. And so now that you've left, given it up, whatever the case is, now you're looking back and going, oh, I think I was happy. So what, were you lying to yourself the whole time? No, I don't think so. You're just defending something that didn't work because potentially you have a fear of actually looking at what your role was in why it didn't work. And there's no blame for that. I know of people who were laid off, they had no income, and they took a job that was not the job that they really wanted. They took something that was really part-time, or maybe it was something on the side that they just needed income. And they hated it every moment. And when they finally left it, they looked back and said, you know what, it wasn't that bad. At least I was getting an income. But yet the whole time they were doing it, they were miserable. So we tell ourselves these stories to defend the choices that we've made, because the truth itself is too hard to accept. And it means that we actually will have to look at our behavior and do something differently. And that's where people start losing it. That's where people start falling apart and going, you know what, I have to go back because right now I don't know what to do. Have you ever felt like you were just lost? You didn't know what your purpose was? So you stay exactly where you are, because at least by staying where you are, you're doing something. Or as people like to say, I'm staying busy. People don't just stay in what no longer serves them. They actively defend it, and then they want to know why they're not happy. And it comes down to what I call the illusion of making a rational choice. The illusion is that we have to assume that people are rational and that they think logically. But the truth is, most times we think emotionally. And when we are in our emotional being, we are no longer typically thinking logically. And what happens is we start building this whole scenario. And the scenario we believe is actually the truth, but it's something that we've created to protect ourselves. It becomes part of our identity because when we question it, it feels too personal. And when it's so personal, we don't want to look at it. Now, I'm not talking about everyone, because many people are out there doing the work. And what am I talking about doing the work? We're here for a reason, and we're here for a season. So finding out what it is that we're meant to do and why it is that we're here is really important. But sometimes we get so caught up in the day-to-day that we just are like that hamster on the wheel. We're just clocking time personally, clocking time professionally. And then one day we look and go, wow, where did all the time go? And all the things that we wanted to do, and so we didn't do it. So we have to look at this. How do we protect our identity and at the same time still move forward with choice? We have our roles in our lives. We have what we believe, our belief system. We have careers, and then we have relationships. And many times we identify ourselves with these things. I'm a father. I'm a mother. I'm the income producer. I'm the one who takes care of our children. And so we have these roles. And in these roles, we believe that this is what it is that we are supposed to be doing. But yet, by saying that, we are limiting ourselves. We have what I call limiting beliefs. So if you're looking to move forward in your life in a positive way, then look at, what are you actually telling yourself? What stories are you telling yourself about your current situation? If you don't feel peaceful, if you find yourself confrontational, being angry, posting angry messages, look at what's behind that. What is it that's missing in your life? And many times it's because we're telling ourselves a story that no longer serves us. Now, some of you will understand what it is I'm talking about, and some of you won't, because we're all on our own journey. So there's no judgment. If you're not happy, think about what it is that could make you happy and what do you have the power to do to attain it. One of the things that we all have the power to do is to look at the past, acknowledge it, and keep it where it is, instead of dragging it into our present or projecting it into our future. If you're currently in a relationship, a personal relationship with someone, and it's not working, ask yourself, honestly, what is your role in the dysfunction of the relationship? And also ask yourself, are your reasons for staying really justifiable? Are they just excuses? Are you just putting off the inevitable? Or do you want to carry more misery into your life? Sometimes people like to be in the victim status. They like to go and tell people, you know what, she doesn't treat me right. He doesn't treat me right. Every day I have to do this. I have to put up with that. But guess what? People get tired of hearing that because we all have the ability to make a choice. And so the whole purpose of this show today is to get you to think about, why are you defending things, people, circumstances, situations that no longer serve you? Have you actually truly moved forward? What have you learned from these situations so that you won't get into them again? People defend what no longer serves them because it once defined them. It wants to define them. Think about that. Now, I'll give an example. Some of you know that I was recently flooded in my apartment for the second time through no cause of my own. And a number of really expensive items were damaged. One of which was a designer handbag. I'm not going to go into the details, it doesn't matter. But it really meant a lot to me. And I took very good care of it. It was stuffed and bagged and stored. And so the water got into it regardless. And now there's mold growing on it. The old me, the me of maybe 5 years ago, would have had a breakdown about this bag. It was so expensive. Now, what am I going to do? And the bag can't be saved because the mold is all over the bottom of it. And it's actually gotten into the center of it. But the new me said, that bag doesn't define me. I haven't carried it in years. I was just saving it, I guess, to leave to someone, or one day I'll use it. But it doesn't define who I am anymore. So even though I had to double bag it, put in the trash, and let go of it, I did so with peace because it served a purpose in my life, but it no longer serves a purpose. Now, if I was in a place of denial, I would be very upset about the bag. Well, the bag cost this much money and I want to be reimbursed. I could just go on and on down a path that would take me nowhere positive. So think about what in your life you are letting define you. And is it worthy? Does it still matter? What can you let go of? Once you start letting go of things, I promise you, you will feel lighter. You will feel more peaceful. Now, I've talked about this before. There is a movie called Up in the Air with George Clooney, came out a number of years ago, not a paid spokesperson. But I remember watching the movie and finding it so interesting. He's got this backpack and he talks about all the things that we as humans pack into a backpack. So it's sort of like an emotional backpack. And he looked at it as if you had to leave and you were going to leave, what would you take with you? And he talks about the furniture and the people, and the backpack becomes so heavy you can hardly stand up. And that's what we do. I thought that was a great analogy, and I might not be doing it justice. But if you think about how much we pack in emotionally, it's hard to believe we can actually stand up and show up day after day. So what can you let go of? What no longer defines you? Maybe it defined you at one point in your life, but what can you let go of? It doesn't make you less than. It actually makes you more than, because you can appreciate it. People come and people go in our lives. And I've given this analogy before of the tree with the branches and with the leaves. And the leaves where I am, it's freezing cold. The trees have no leaves. So the leaves are like people. They come and they go. When the spring comes, there'll be more leaves. The branches are sturdier unless somebody has to cut them down because they're impeding on something, or they break because of a storm. But the branches hang around longer. What really sticks around are the roots, the tree roots. And if you've ever seen tree roots and how far they grow out, especially if you have a tree that's 100 years old, and sometimes the asphalt or the concrete is actually broken from the roots because that's how sturdy and stable they are. Where are you spending your time? Are you lamenting about the leaves? And the leaves don't have to be people. They can be situations or circumstances in your life. They're meant to come and they're meant to go. We're meant to learn something from it. And it might be something that was really pleasant, or it could be something that's unpleasant. As a business owner, I've made some decisions that were not the correct ones if you look at from dollars and cents perspective, but they taught me things. So do I belabor it? Do I harbor on it and say, oh, you made a bad decision? No, I say, you know what? I learned something. And what I learned costs a certain amount of money. Actually, in these cases, dollars and cents. Sometimes it doesn't cost dollars and cents. It costs our integrity. It costs our time. We have to let go of some things. But that's emotional intelligence. That's being mature. So look at what's going on in your own life and think to yourself, what is it that I'm carrying around in my own backpack that I can let go of? Keeping in mind that we cannot control other people. We cannot control what other people say or what they think. We have to let that go. So that's something that we can say right now. That doesn't define us. What someone thinks of us doesn't define us. What someone's saying about us doesn't define us. It's none of our business. We can let that go. If you're in a place in your life where you're worrying all the time what people are saying about you, that takes a lot of energy. Why put it there? Put it into something that will be productive, that will bring you joy. So as always, what I shared today is about you finding peace, about you focusing on what it is that you will leave as your legacy in this world. I hope that you find the peace. I hope that you look at what's serving you and what doesn't serve you. And I thank you for your time and attention. And I'd really love if you are watching on a platform other than YouTube for you to come over to our YouTube channels and also to subscribe to them, USA Global TV and Radio and Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. We have many shows about many different topics, and we'd love to have you join our community. Again, USA Global TV and Radio and Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. If you want to reach me, my contact information is in the show notes. So please feel free to reach out if I can help you in any way. And if you'd like to be a guest on any of our shows, please go to our website, usaglobaltv.com/book your session. That's all for now. Thank you so much. We will be back with our next show at the top of the hour. Bye.
In a world full of noise, misunderstandings, and interruptions, master the art of listening with Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK is the listening mentor of USA Global TV and Radio and the Amazon #1 best-selling author of Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening. Elevate your listening. Elevate your life. Join a global learning experience in person or via Zoom. Reserve your spot today. usaglobaltv.com/book-your-session or drjacalyn.thinkific.com. Join Dr. KERBECK's listening courses or hire her to unlock deeper connections and authentic conversations. Have you ever felt unheard? Like your words float into a void, leaving you invisible and disconnected? How about feeling judged, when assumptions overshadow your truth, leaving you misunderstood and defensive? And then there's that moment when someone offers solutions you never asked for, dismissing your feelings and leaving you more frustrated than before. It doesn't have to be this way. Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK, the listening mentor, understands. She's here to help you reclaim your voice, build stronger connections, and create meaningful conversations that inspire understanding and mutual respect. Through her groundbreaking books, online and in-person courses, and interactive workshops, you'll learn how to navigate life's most challenging interactions. Discover the power of elevated listening and transform how you communicate. Master setting boundaries and asking permission to protect your peace. Learn to recognize and release judgment, fostering empathy and true connection. Dr. KERBECK also offers personalized coaching, one-on-one or group sessions designed to fit your unique needs. Whether in person or virtually on StreamYard, her guidance will empower you to thrive. You don't have to struggle alone. The path to deeper connections and better relationships start here. Visit drjacalyn.com or usaglobaltv.com. Join a global community of empowered listeners and transform your life, one meaningful conversation at a time. Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK is the listening mentor. Start your journey today. Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/usaglobaltv. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.